What's up, everybody? We back up in here, Hella Flagrant, the podcast. It's your main man, Hella Flagrant DM, and I'm in here with my brother, Sean B. Flagrant. Shawnee B, what's going on with you, brother?
Oh, man, you know I'm always good, man. Looking at this football week 3, man, coming up right now. And, NBA playoffs are going strong. Western and Eastern Conference finals underway. Man, we got some good matchups right now.
Yeah, a lot of good sports action. And like you said, we're going to kick it off. We're going to talk about the things that are going on in the NFL. So we didn't get to really talk directly about, week 1. So we saw what happened there. And then week 2, obviously a lot of injuries going on in week 2. Just a ridiculous amount of injuries happening right now in the NFL. And I guess I can speak on this topic the best because my team, the San Francisco 49ers, we are feeling it the most. And not to make light of anybody's injury, so I don't want to laugh at all at the fact that somebody's injured, but it just hurts. But Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, both torn ACLs. Nick Bosa ruled out for the season. Solomon Thomas, as of this recording, has not yet been ruled out, but it's likely that he will be too. We saw an injury to Jimmy G. We saw an injury to Raheem Mostert. We saw, and we already know Kittle is battling an injury. So that's just one team. Just one team.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, this week 2 was just crazy. I mean, there's injuries all around. Obviously, like you spoke about, San Francisco 49ers took it probably the hardest as a collective unit, playing out there in New York, or New Jersey, I should say, at MetLife on that asphalt, or not asphalt, I should say. What is that, turf? Like the dead turf? Yeah. I mean, it feels like asphalt if you playing on it. But, suffered the most injuries, Bosa, Solomon Thomas back-to-back. I mean, that was like 2 plays pretty much back-to-back. Jimmy G is probably going to be out for a little bit. Well, he might not be. They said he got a high ankle sprain, so he might come back in week 3. But, I mean, I wouldn't push it because you got to play on the same field. You got to play on the same field, in New York. So, but yeah, Raheem Mostert out. Tevin Campbell obviously is out also. So Jet McKinnon, who didn't play all last year and hasn't played in the last 2 years for the team, actually is now the starting running back, which is pretty wild. Who are also playing the Giants next week in week 3, who lost their star running back. Saquon Barkley tore his ACL.
Yeah, a blow to my fantasy team as well. And I had Kittle and Mostert on my fantasy team, and so this is an ugly start to the NFL season. Saquon Barkley's injury obviously is humongous for New York, as we all know. That's kind of their main guy, the same way that Carolina.
No, wait! Before you say anything, Devontae Freeman was signed to New York and is now going to be the savior of the New York Football Giants. Devontae Freeman.
Yeah, let's see how that works out.
Okay, we'll move on from that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'm not picking him up off the waiver wire anytime soon.
I don't think he would either.
But yeah, Saquon's injury is obviously humongous to New York because we know they use him the same way Carolina uses Christian McCaffrey, which is for every single thing. And so
who is also injured as well.
I was just getting there.
Yeah.
It's really, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is rough for the NFL. I know I started off talking about my team specifically, but this is rough for the NFL. A lot of key players are injured. And so, I don't know. I don't even know what else to say about it. I mean, you can speak on it, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think what's happening is the fact that we don't have a preseason this year and shortened mini camps and training camps together with the teams because of COVID-19 and everything that's been going on in the world. Players are not getting the runs, the reps like they used to. There's no hitting and touching in practice, obviously. So when these guys are playing in their first 1 or 2 weeks, they're going out there full speed, and they haven't gotten hit like they like previous years when they've trained and got ready for camp. Because even the stars, what happens is when you have these mini camps, a lot of times what teams will do is they'll have cold camps. and they'll play against a team for a few weeks, or not a few weeks, but a few days or whatever, just to kind of tune up, tighten up, you know, dig in a little bit and try to figure out, hit people a little bit, test things
Yeah.
out. But now they can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So with all this happening and stuff like that, you putting these guys out there first few weeks. I mean, they're going full speed, and this is like boom, tearing ligaments left and right.
Yeah, and they haven't. The only field they pretty much played on is their practice field for the most part. They haven't even
Right.
really played on their own home fields. And so to go play on a different kind of field, playing the turf, yeah, that's something that you get some reps in during the preseason. You might play on one or two, three other fields before you actually have to play in the season, and so you kind of get used to that, get your footing right, and so it is. It's a lot of that going on in the NFL right now, and it's I mean, it's just the way things are. Unfortunately, hopefully, most of these injuries are not. Obviously, we see some of them are season-ending injuries, but hopefully, a lot of them are not because we want to see the star players play. But again, there comes now an opportunity for other players to come up and play.
Yeah.
It's all just kind of weird. It's just a crazy year, crazy season. So
I mean, this is week 2, though. That's the crazy thing about it. I mean, this is week 2,
right.
and we're already losing, high-powered stars from our league. So it's. I mean, I'm hoping that things, kind of calm down. Obviously,
Right.
if it was normal time, week 3 would kind of be around when preseason kind of would stop. I mean, they have week 4, but that's not usually for the starters. But maybe people get back in the swing of things. Maybe by week 3, 4, or 5, players will start to figure things out, kind of settle in, because we've also seen a lot of missed tackling also through the league, and
Oh
that's not. I
yeah.
mean, that's the.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking it's going to be the opposite way. Like maybe teams or players would be rusty, people wouldn't know what to do. And there's still some of that, but at the same time, I mean, tackling is just an all-time low. I mean,
It's bad.
it's
It's bad.
terrible. It's terrible.
It was bad in y'all game, in the Raider game. Oof. Ooh, boy, on both sides,
Shout
not
out to
just.
the Raiders for being 2-0 right
Yeah,
now.
go ahead.
2-0.
Go Raiders.
Oakland, not Las Vegas. No. Yeah. So anyway, anybody saw that game last night on ESPN? I mean, we're filming this a little early before you see it, but Monday Night Football, Las Vegas Raiders unveiled their new stadium with the new torch lit by the late great Al Davis's former wife. I mean, it's a beautiful stadium. I'm just gonna say it like that. I mean, I know Oakland. Look, trust me, it hurts. It hurts, but
Yeah.
let's be honest, man. We go to Las Vegas all the time, so I'm not really that mad. You feel me?
No,
So
no, and it's it seems like it'll be an interesting place to have games once fans are allowed to come back in, and Vegas is back to being Vegas. It'll be a very cool spot to have football games and other fun times in the city of Las Vegas. But moving on through that, some other things going on around the NFL. Fines. Number of coaches. I think 5, 6 coaches were fined $100,000 for not wearing masks as a part of the NFL's COVID-19 protocol. So here, obviously, yeah, the NFL wants to, make sure that they're taking a stance and make sure that their coaches are, because they're so visible, especially on camera, and people are seeing them, the people that are watching them, they want people to make sure that they're wearing masks when they're around other people, large number of people. But if you tested all 5,000 people involved in the league every week and there were 0 positive tests, is $100,000 fine like really that necessary?
no, it's not necessary. But at the same time, I do understand it. I do know why they're doing it. Like you said, this is more for the audience. They're trying to send a message that people need to stay safe. You having coaches walk around screaming in, referees' faces and different things like that.
Yeah.
It looks kind of bad. Obviously, John Gruden did that last night, and I was sitting there like, "What's going on?" The ref actually wanted to
Come
put
on,
his
Chuck.
face mask over his mouth, while John Gruden was talking. And see, the problem with that is, I mean, look, everybody's tested negative. So I'm not outing John Gruden, but John Gruden has stated that he had COVID-19. So now, just with the fear of it, and because nobody really knows what happens with COVID-19, they don't know how, once it's left your body, if you can re-get it, it can come back. I'm sure it can come back. Um, I've heard that there's been, situations where that's happened, but either way, my point is John Gruden on live TV, national TV, was in the ref's face yelling at him directly, standing real close to him like this. And it's just like, okay, if we're going to do this and if we're going to show people that we as a league are following protocol and that we have zero testing, how is this looking good on TV
Right.
while you're yelling directly in a ref's face and your mask is under your chin? What is your
Right.
mask under your chin going to do? You
Right.
protecting your throat? Like, I don't get it. Like, come on, John. Like, you got to be better than that. I don't care. Like, I know he said, I don't care about the fine, whatever. Look, it ain't about the fine. It ain't about the money. We know you got money. You got a $10 million a year contract, $100 million. I don't know why, still, but you got it. You can pay for that. I get it. That's not the problem. That's not the issue. You are a role model to some people.
Right.
You need to show them that you're taking this seriously so that way other people do the same thing. That's why they're finding it. That's why all these coaches got it. And they're probably saying the same thing. Like, well, why did I need to do this and this and this when I don't have it? It's not for you. It's not for the person you're talking to, because you might talk to these players every single day. You might be that close and no problems. It's for the people that are sitting at home like me that cannot go to games for this reason because of COVID-19. We don't want to sit there and see you this close to somebody's face and say, well, if you could do that, why can't I go to the game?
Right. Yeah, and that at the end of the day, that's the point. You got to set the standard, and you have to set an example. And so, I get it. I get why the NFL is doing it. And so, coaches just do it. I mean, it's not that hard. They make the little cool little things with the logos on it and all that stuff now. Just do it. It's fine. You'll be all right.
I mean, you seen Andy Reid with the whole visor thing that was fogging up. I mean,
yeah,
he's taking it seriously.
Seriously, he's not playing with y'all.
Exactly.
And as an older gentleman, he shouldn't. You know what I mean? He don't want to catch that.
Yeah, if he can do that, y'all can at least put the thing over your mouth, man. Come on.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Meet me halfway, John. Come on.
So switching gears over to the NBA. Something that we've talked about on this show a few times, and it's come up in this show a few times, is the NBA awards and how and when they are given out. And as we've seen this year, there were some awards that were given out at a time that kind of didn't really make sense. I mean, you got Giannis as the MVP while he is no longer in the playoffs. Obviously he got injured, so you really can't fault the man for that. But as it looked, his team wasn't really going to make it, even if he was not injured. And the guy that probably should have been MVP is still playing basketball. And if you don't know his name is LeBron James. He plays for the Los Angeles Lakers, and he's kind of a good basketball player.
Just a little bit.
I don't understand why people don't vote him as valuable or the most valuable, because if you look at the teams that he plays with, especially let's take out the Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade team where he learned how to win. Outside of that, this man is always in the finals. Was hurt first year with the Lakers, can't count that. This man is always in the finals with teams that have old man Danny Green, KCP, Caruso, Kuzma,
Dwight Howard.
You have Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee. Granted, you have Anthony Davis, who is the most inconsistent all-star in the league right now. He's great. Well, Paul George is probably the most inconsistent player in the league ever in history, but Anthony Davis is pretty inconsistent for some reason right now, and I don't understand that. But when he's on, he's on. Great. Other than that, LeBron James brings these teams full of – you got Deion Waiters and J.R. Smith on your team who high-five each other on the bench and warm up Rondo in the pregame. I don't understand how you can't call this man the most valuable player. Like, he single-handedly leads these teams deep into the playoffs, if not to the finals, or wins them all the time. I don't.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with voter fatigue. I think a lot of, and I think that's a cop out, honestly, that a lot of people do because they just think they. So this is what I think. LeBron James is held to a different standard than pretty much everybody else in the NBA.
Of course.
I mean, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant are there as well, but other than that, nobody's held to the same standard. So it's almost like you just expect LeBron to be what he is. So when he has years like this where he's averaging 10 assists a game, it doesn't look like anything because you've seen him do things close to that because he's averaged around 8 assists a game for his whole career. Now, remind you, this is still year 17, and I know that shouldn't be taken into consideration for the award because the award is the most valuable player. But at the same time, he still is having one of the best careers in the NBA. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Giannis. I'm not taking anything away from what he did. But what we were saying about giving the awards away is when you give the awards away later and you try to stagger it out and try to build the suspense of having all these, awards and everybody praising them, it just leads into the wrong mindset for people because right now it's the Western and Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron James is playing. Anthony Davis is playing. Both of them are first team All NBA. Okay? Giannis is not playing. Giannis was the MVP. LeBron was runner-up. Now, another thing that's LeBron even said and he was pissed off at was the fact that he got 16 votes out of a possible 101. Now, that makes no sense.
That makes no sense.
Now, I can understand somebody being upset about that when you've had the year that you had. I'm not saying it has to be half, but it cannot be 16.
No, that's unacceptable. I mean, I get that, there's some argument for Harden and maybe Dame, but 16 for LeBron, you got to be kidding me. Like, there's no way. But all that to the side, even like you said, back to the main topic of when they give this award out. If you're going to do that and you're going to do something like that where it's like, okay, well, we can't just keep giving it to him, at least have the award at the very end of the season because we know LeBron James is going to be deep in the playoffs. So if I give this award out and we've decided as a league that we're not going to give it to LeBron James, then we retarded to give this award out deep into the playoffs because we know LeBron James is likely going to be deep into the playoffs. Like, what sense does that make?
Right.
Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't get it. Or whoever else. You know what I mean? Even if it was, for example, you voted Harden. Well, and I can use this. It's a fact. Okay, wait. No, I'm not knocking him. But it's a fact. The Rockets don't get past the second round. It just doesn't happen. And so, you vote him as the most valuable player and then, Steph or somebody else, I'm just speaking hypothetically in other seasons, but somebody else goes on to win the championship, and now you've given this award out way late. Like, who cares? We don't care. Right. That's the point. We don't care.
Yeah. And exactly. And you have time usually, and I know this is a different year because everything stopped, and then they had to come back 4 months later and come into the bubble. But even with that, once the bubble was over and before they started the playoffs, you gave the bubble awards or whatever the hell they call them right away. That's what you need to do at the end of every season. Once that season is completed, before the playoff starts, the awards need to be given out.
Yep.
Period, point blank. There's no reason to wait for them. You guys, not you guys, but the voters calculate that stuff well before the season's over. So there's no reason that this shouldn't be done then. Example, Nick Nurse got Coach of the Year. He's not in the finals or the playoffs right now.
No.
Montrezl Harrell got six man. He's not in the playoffs. And I'm going to speak about that right after this because I don't give a damn about it being a week ago. I need to talk about the Clippers. Back to that.
Go ahead.
Who else was it?
Defensive player of the year.
Player of the year and MVP is Giannis.
Giannis. And Jokic is still playing, and Anthony Davis is still playing.
Davis is still
playing.
Right. And MVP
you know what I mean?
is LeBron James, and he's still playing. It doesn't make any sense. No. Like, you cannot have all these players get told or give these awards out while these players are probably at home or away from the situation, because it just makes them look even worse, and it makes the guys that are still playing even more mad. I.e. LeBron James.
Yeah, and it's like why go hard? I mean, obviously you're going to go hard because you want your team to win, and you're going to do it because you want your team to win. But at the same time, slightly in the back of your mind, it's a little bit kind of like the only analogy I can think of right off the top of my head is Aaron Gordon in the dunk contest. Like, I don't want to go anymore. Like, right. I've given you everything, and you guys don't want to show me any love. Like, why am I going to give you my best?
Right. And this is not just about LeBron James not winning. This is about in general. This award needs to be given out at the end of the regular season, because once
it's a regular season award,
right? Once the playoffs start, you give a Finals MVP and the championship. That doesn't get done later on in the summer. You give that out right then. Why can you not do that with the regular season? It just it makes it easier.
And maybe you have like a playoff defensive player award, and maybe you have a playoff, whatever award. I don't know, or maybe you just go with the Finals MVP and keep it how it is. I don't know. But at the same time, it's a regular season award. Give it away at the end of the regular season. No one cares deep into the play. Even if, and I'm being honest about this, even if LeBron James is the MVP of the regular season and he makes it the Finals MVP, I don't care about his regular season award if you give it to me in the middle of the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's on his way to Finals MVP. Give it to him at the end of the regular season. Have that little moment. Move on.
Right.
So,
exactly.
The Clippers. Let's just have a little talk about that. We have to. We can't not talk about that.
No. Okay, let me start with this. Okay, right now, obviously, if everybody's watching the NBA playoffs, the Lakers are in there. The Miami Heat are in there.
Yeah.
The Boston Celtics are in there. And the Denver Nuggets are in the Western Conference Finals. Now, good for them. I'm not taking anything away from the Nuggets at all. They have come back from 3-1 deficits in 2 series just to be where they're at. You know what I'm saying? And when you guys watch this show, they might be down 3-1 again, because right now they just won.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to win the next game. So if this comes out, and they already lost, then they might have to do the same thing again. But here's my point with the Clippers. Everybody in the entire world, as soon as the summers happen, crown the Clippers as going to be the people that dethrone the Lakers. I had to listen to every single person on all these radio stations and all these television shows saying how, this is the best defensive team in the whole world. You don't know what to do now. Now that Kawhi then sparring LeBron and went to the Clippers and hand plucked Paul George from OKC. Watch out. Let me tell you about this first of all. The one thing I do not like about all this is the fact that these NBA players have way too much control to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
The fact that Kawhi Leonard was able to tear apart a franchise, take one of their best players off the team and put him onto his own team, literally within a few days, makes no sense to me.
Yeah, we've talked about that at length. Go ahead, my bad. I didn't cut you off. Go ahead.
That's okay. But because of that, this is what happens. Because when everybody thinks that, they're so big and so bad, they did not take the regular season correctly. They didn't go about it correctly. They took it for a joke. Mm-hmm. Kawhi Leonard was game man, or what is it called? Load managing the whole year. The whole year about his leg hurt. I can't do it. Let me sit out. And they let him do it. The Clippers just said, hey, take as much time as you need. It's okay. Paul George, same thing. Lou Will not very interested during the whole season.
It was
Whatever.
almost 2 months into the season when Paul George and Kawhi actually played together.
Exactly the point. And you got Lou Will, who did not want to be in the bubble at all. I mean, we all know about
Lemon Pepper Lou,
who trademarked that name, first of all, which is ridiculous. But
gotta love it. You gotta love it.
I mean, hey, more power to you. I have no problem with Magic City at all, and no problem with Living Pepper Wings at all. Living Pepper Lou, you can call yourself all you want to, but you can call that now at Magic City because you are at home now in Atlanta. You are not in the playoffs or in this bubble. And the reason why is because you guys didn't take this seriously at all.
Mm-mm.
I cannot begin to speak about playoff P, Paul George, or whatever the hell that man wants to call himself. He might be the laziest, inconsistent, I don't want to say star because he's not a star. Like, he might be the best third player ever, but he is not anybody's first or second option. I am sorry. You cannot play that weak and soft and be that mentally. Look, I know he talked about mental health, and I am not about to sit there and talk about anybody if they are really dealing with something in that nature. But you cannot tell me that was serious, that you finally got yourself together, but then as soon as you start going down again, you stop playing.
Well, yeah, and the thing about that is, you never want to like make light of somebody who brought into their mental health issues. If you're going through something, brother, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna knock that. However, the moniker playoff P came. You gave it to yourself a while ago. The problem is you do this same thing every year in the playoffs. Like if this was new, it'd be one thing. We're like, oh man, he's going through a rough time. It's fine. This is who you are, and you have to accept it. Just like the comment I made about the Rockets and James Harden to an extent, you have to accept that at certain points in the playoffs, you disappear. You're not there anymore, and you have to figure out how to play through that if you're going to call yourself play. Actually, no, you can't even call yourself that anymore. We're not. You have to win like 3 finals in a row for you to even get some other kind of nickname, and we're not even going to call it playoff P. We're done with that. That is outside the window now. So, sir, you have to show up if you're gonna call yourself a star. If you're gonna be somebody's, like you said, best first or second player, you have to show up. You really do. You really have to show up when it counts. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you score 40 on the last 2 games of the regular season. Doesn't matter to me at all. Win a playoff series against the Denver Nuggets, who, not knocking the Nuggets, they're playing basketball. Jamal Murray is making ridiculous shots, and Jokic is passing like who knows what. He has some circus magic passes that he makes, and it's great. I love it. But at the same time, you guys, like you said, pulled teams apart, constructed this whole thing. You had the NBA and all this. You had LeBron James and AD waiting in the hallway of his son's games on the phone. You remember that when they was there on the little phone trying to see what teams guys were going to? Yeah, all of us tuned in to see this happen, and this is what we get. Like this is what you give us. You know what I mean?
And I don't want to discredit the Nuggets for anything they did because they did ball out. You know what I'm saying? And they are in the Western Conference Finals for a reason. I cannot stand the fact that these guys took this thing so lightly. Like, I mean, just everything coming into the bubble, like they just did not care. And I'm not about to sit here, and I know Kawhi Leonard had a terrible, terrible, terrible Game 7, but I can't blame him for everything because he did play throughout the playoffs, other than the Game 7, very well. Yeah. So I'm not going to say he's off the hook because his Game 7 performance was terrible, but he's not the reason why this team is where they're at right now. But Paul George, even Montrezl Harrell wasn't playing the way he was supposed to, getting his 6-man award, which is another reason. Lou Will, all these players.
Bev.
Look, that was the other thing I was thinking about. Pat Bev and Paul George sitting over there laughing at Dame and CJ when they miss free throws or whatever, laughing like, "Oh, you gonna get out? You gonna Dame time and all this other stuff." What's going on now?
Yeah.
What do you have to say now? At least Dame showed up in the bubble.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I mean, well, and to be honest, and I am knocking Pat Bev. He's not as good as he attempts to be.
No.
I forgot. He just be moving around.
He just runs around in your face. That's all he does. It's not defending anybody.
And that's you know what I mean. To get back to the topic of basketball, like Clippers, come on, y'all got to play basketball. Doc, you got to do better, man. Like this is not. It's not okay. It's your one chance to make it to the. You never made it to the conference finals. Never.
That's other thing, man. Like, and Doc, I like Doc, but Doc, it's too much being put on Doc. Like he's just some savior. He's Phil Jackson or somebody like that. Doc has won one finals, and he had Kevin Garnett on the team. Kevin Garnett led that team, and I'm not gonna sit here and say anything, but he has gotten 3 times he has been up 3-1. 3 times been up 3-1 and lost series like that in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
3. He's the only person in the world who's lost 3. Like I'm saying, like I'm not gonna discredit Doc, but at some point, being the good guy, being the friend doesn't work.
Yeah.
You can't be everybody's friend. You can't if Kawhi Leonard says I don't want to play today, you have to say I'm paying you, so you need to play. When Paul George sits there and throws balls off the backboard and all this other stuff, and then pouts around and doesn't play defense because he's missing shots, you need to get in his ass. Like straight up. When you have Pat Beverly acting a fool, talking on the sideline to everybody, you need to tell him to be quiet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, they just ran all over. I'm not saying ran all over Doc, but just ran all over the fact that they knew that they were stars and that they didn't have to do anything. And now it showed when they got embarrassed on TV by being up 3-1, and that game 7 was atrocious. I don't care what nobody said. That was one of the most pathetic performances I've ever seen in my entire life.
That was bad. It was. I can't say anything else about it. I think we've said all. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It was bad. It was terrible. And Los Angeles Clippers, you guys should really be ashamed of yourself. But luckily, you have a while to think about it because the NBA has said that they will not start anytime before January. So you guys have ample time to work that out, boy.
Yeah, there's always next year. Because remember, Paul George said that they weren't trying to win a championship this year.
Yeah,
anyway.
this was not a winner bust year for.
Yeah, nobody cares about championships. We just wanted to have fun together.
That's ridiculous. You play to win the game. Like who? Yeah, I'm coming in here to be mediocre. Like let's kind of be all right this year. Like what does that even mean?
Franchise. So you could go.
What does that? But what does that say?
What
does that say? What does that say though? Like you know what I mean? I have a 15-year-old son that loves basketball. What does that tell him? Like, oh, he should go out and give like 70% effort today. Like when he goes out to shoot. Like, yeah, just gonna go out and be all right today. You know what I mean? Like, what is that?
Yeah, just run around, do a little jogging, cardio work. You know.
Good. Yeah. Hit the game for a minute. I'm good.
It's been a week and something, and I'm still mad about this.
Clearly.
It doesn't make any sense. They've been at home for a while now, man. Like,
oh man.
I hope Paul George listens to this. He needs to eat. Oh my god.
oh man. So the NBA, we'll keep you guys updated as normal with everything that goes on as we get into the NBA Finals. By the time our next episode is out, both sides should be decided, and we should be looking at what 2 teams are headed into the finals. And so I look forward to that. Look forward to any other NBA news as it comes out. So as we are going to round off this show, we are going to allow you, Shiny B, we are going to talk about NFL Week 3 and where we should be putting our money for Week 3.
Well, let's check this out here. I mean, betting advice, obviously, my games haven't gone as well.
And disclaimer, we are not experts. This is all for fun. And we do not advise that you spend your money on anything that we say. We're just saying this. So.
Oh, you can spend your money, but just don't come at me when you don't win. Trust me, I'm gonna give you my best bets. But if you don't win, don't come at me. That's on you.
Oh man, that
All right,
six game parlay always gets you.
Yeah, I straight up. I literally one team last night. I picked Philadelphia, which was the worst thing I could possibly do. Okay, anyway, let's get to this. So we'll start off with the teams that we both deal with the most. Raiders are at the Patriots. The spread right now is Patriots 6.5 favorites, with the over and 47. Right now, if I have to be honest with you, anything that's Raider related, I have to take the over. The only problem right now that I'm looking at is the defense from the Patriots. The Patriots are a talented team. Defensively, their backfield with Stephon Gilmore and the Cordy twins, second to none. But if you watch the Seattle game when they played them this past Sunday Night Football, they can be beaten.
Yeah.
They can be beaten. So right now, the spread 47. I'm probably going to look at the over. New England 6.5. I don't think I would take that. Now, see, this is a problem. Bill Belichick is a way better coach than John Gruden, but at the same time, I do think that the Raiders will have more of a chance to win. What I don't like in this game is the 10 o'clock start.
Yeah.
Raiders played Monday Night Football in Las Vegas. You fly all the way to East Coast. That's where the problem comes in. Let me see. I would probably stick with the over if I'm gonna have to take any bet. I think in the beginning, if I would take a first half bet, I would probably go with the first half under, because I do think it's going to take a little bit of time for both teams to kind of warm up. Well, at least the Raiders to warm up. I think Bill Belichick and Cam Newton will be fine. But I would probably run with the Raiders to cover the 6.5. Just because I don't see any Bill Belichick team right now, with the way it's constructed, blowing any team out.
Yeah, no, I agree there. I like you, am on this side of the over, for a lot of the same reasons. And I haven't seen enough Cam yet to know what Cam's going to do, to say that they're going to cover at 6.5. So, yeah, we're looking at this game. Plus, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be fairly cold that day. So, I think if New England wins, they're going to win, and it's going to be by about 3 or 4.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go 49ers and Giants right now.
Why are we even talking about this game? It's not even a game to bet. There's not for real. Like, I'm just saying, like, neither team has anybody worth betting on. That right there is a trap game if I ever saw one.
Yeah, line right now 4.5, over and under 40. I would still take the 49ers, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, I would too, but I'm not.
I don't know about Nick Mullins if he's starting. I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo is starting. I would wait and see what would happen. If you had to bet that game, I would probably take San Francisco -4. The over and under at 40. It's tough. It's tough. It depends on who's playing. Nick Mullins is not really the greatest quarterback to fill up. So,
yeah, that 49er defensive line is kind of so there would be no real pass rush. So,
Jeff McKinnon, only running back for the most part that we know of right now.
Yeah, that might be an over game just because it's again one of those trap games. So that's why I'm going to stay away from it.
I can see an over just because, I mean, both don't have their running backs. They're going to have to throw the ball regardless. A lot of sloppy play, bad defense. Over sounds about right. 40 is pretty low anyway. All right, let's move to actual football.
Packers Saints.
Yeah, Packers Saints right now. New Orleans favored by 3. The over and under is 52. I'm just gonna be real honest with you. Take the Packers. Take the Packers. Straight up and down. The Saints are not as good as you think they are. With
Yeah,
no
which
crowd.
again, back to my destroyed fantasy team. Drew Brees is supposed to be the leader of that, and he is not doing anything there. And at 52, I can see the Packers putting up the numbers. I don't know that. Yeah, I can still see that being an over. 26 points on each side is definitely doable. So, um,
Could
you know,
happen. It could definitely happen. I personally, I think I would take the Packers and stay away from the over and under just because I don't know. I don't know what Drew Brees. I don't know what's going to come with that.
yeah, so, no, with Michael Thomas being injured, we really don't know what Drew Brees is going to be capable of doing. And so, yeah, we'll look to be cautious on that over under number on that game. Moving out of that one, I think the only other, Chiefs Ravens.
That's a tough game. That's a tough game. That's a tough game.
It's in Baltimore. Baltimore's favored by 3.5, and over under is 53. I'm gonna say that this is going to be an over game.
I'd actually lean Baltimore.
But I'm leaning Baltimore.
Yeah, I lean Baltimore. Baltimore has their defense can be beaten, but at the same time, their defense is really good. So I'm leaning for them to make enough stops to, I guess you could say slow down the Chiefs' offense. Patrick Mahomes look pretty good, but he hasn't been a world beater this year so far. I mean, it's only been 2 games, so I mean, what does that mean? But they've been using their running back a lot. Edwards-Helaire, they've been using him a lot for a lot of things, and as you saw, and people saw with the Chargers game when they played the Chargers, as long as you apply pressure to that line, to Kansas City's line, it's hard for Mahomes to get going at some time. So
yeah, and when you look at Kansas City, I mean they got Sammy Watkins listed as questionable. So that's something there to look at, and then you look defensively. They've got a few guys on their defensive line listed as questionable, whereas Baltimore coming into this game has no real significant injuries to any major starters. And so that's going to be, something to keep an eye on right there on both sides of the football. But yeah, I'd also lean Baltimore, but I'd still say this is going to be like a 30 to 30, 37, 30 to 33 game. Like I feel like it's going to be 60 points or more in this game. So I think the over is a safe bet in that one.
I would agree with that too. I like Baltimore and the over. Real quick, one more. Obviously, I know there's a lot of Cowboy fans. Cowboys and Seahawks. Seattle's favored by 4.5, over and under 55. Just take the over, make it easy. Seattle plays a lot of games close. So if I was going to take a side on this one, I'd probably take the Cowboys with the plus 4.5. Just because Seattle keeps a lot of games very close. They always let their opponents stay in the game.
So and this is obviously with no fans, it doesn't matter as much, but Seattle being the home team, you still take Dallas?
Yeah. Just because of situational football. I mean, I think it'll be a lot of running plays. Dallas' defense is not very good. Let's just be honest about it. Their defense is not very good, but neither is Seattle's. I do think it'll be tough. I mean, like you said, there's no crowd, so Dak and won't have the pressure of 12th man. I think he'll be able to get comfortable because, like I said, Seattle's defenses they don't apply pressure. They don't have any pass rushers. So if
Yeah.
Dak can sit there and throw the football wherever he wants to, I mean, the only pass rushers I have actually is Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams is a safety. So I mean, unless they're going to blitz every play, I don't see Dak doing anything but sitting back there and finding whoever he needs to find. Either way, I think this game's going to be high scoring. I would probably just take the over.
Yeah.
But if I had to take a side, I would probably lean Dallas strictly because Seattle just keeps everything close for the most part.
Yeah. I don't know. And not that I want my division rival to win a game. I'm going to flip it the other way, and I'm going to say that Seattle is going to win and cover. And I think that Seattle's going to pull this one out. I'm not confident in Dallas yet, and maybe it's just because, again, like we talked about, these first 2 weeks felt like preseason games, and so I don't know that I believe in Dallas Cowboys enough to get behind them.
No, I agree with that. I'm not very confident in Dallas either, to be honest with you. I'm more confident that Seattle likes to let their opponents stay in the game. And I'm not saying that Seattle won't win. I just think it'll be a closer game than most people would think. But you could be right. I mean, Seattle has been playing terrific football either way. I mean, they've gone up against the Patriots, and I mean, even with that game, Cam looked amazing and came down to the last play. But Seattle took it out. I forgot who else they played in Week 1, but I played Atlanta, which Dallas played actually. And they blew them out the water. But
no. Atlanta blew themselves out of anything, as they always do. Let's be honest about that. Like that's terrible. Talk about embarrassing.
That onside kick was probably the most horrendous thing I've ever seen in a football game. The fact that you don't know that you can pick up the ball when you're on the team that you're getting the ball kicked to makes no sense. Why would you sit there and wait for it to bounce 10 yards when you don't have to do that? As soon as they kick the ball, you can grab it. You're not the kicking team. The kicking team has to wait 10 yards. The fact that you are in the NFL and you don't know that. Exactly.
That's Pee-wee football. That's not even... anyway. Back to... Anyway, so, you say Dallas. I'm taking Seattle in that game. We'll see how that pans out. Is there any other... We got Carolina Rams. That's not even worth looking at. Tampa Bay, Denver. No, thank you. Detroit, Arizona. Not in this world. Chicago, Atlanta. 2 letdown teams playing each other. Houston, Pittsburgh. No, Houston's terrible. Never mind.
Yeah, I would just take Pittsburgh. Well, I don't know. Houston
Pittsburgh.
Houston needs a win, but
it's in Pittsburgh. Just take Pittsburgh.
I mean, it's only 3. I would take Pittsburgh.
Washington, Cleveland, the battle of the bottom.
Yeah, don't even waste your money on that. See, this is the problem with betting. You see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, the last game that you saw, Cleveland won. They won on a Thursday night against the Bengals. Bengals are not anything. They're not good. Joe Burrow is good. I think he's going to be a hell of a quarterback, but he's not there yet. So now they go in and they play the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins are
the Washington football team.
The Washington football team is terrible. So now Cleveland, who is not better than anybody, is favored by 7 points. You can't touch that. You cannot touch
Never.
that.
No way.
It's a sucker's bet. Just because Washington's bad doesn't mean that Cleveland is now better.
Listen, folks. Just so you guys know, and I'm no betting expert, but I do know this: Vegas has lost a lot of money this year, and they're doing what they can to get it back. watch yourselves. Don't take
Exactly.
don't take the Colts minus 10.5 over the Jets. Do not do that to yourself.
No.
Like, what is that? What bet? I'm just the over under is 4. How are you gonna have how are you gonna have the Colts minus 10.5, who are 1-1, and the over under is 43? You're basically saying that the Jets aren't really gonna score points at all.
Yeah, basically. That's exactly what they're saying.
They're just gonna run around the field all game.
Which is foolish. Don't take that. If you believe that the Colts will win, just let it go.
Just do that. But
just do not place bets like that. Like, terrible teams do not, just because the team is worse than a terrible team does not make the team that's the other one a little bit are better. Like, now great. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
They're still terrible. They're just playing a worse team, but that doesn't mean that the other worst team can't be better than that team that day, because they're both in the dumps. The Colts are not better than anybody. They beat the Vikings last week. That doesn't make them good.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? That just means that the Vikings are even worse. That's all that means.
That's all it means. It's all that means. So, y'all be careful with your money. Again, we do this just for fun and entertainment. We are not telling you to run out and throw your money at any of these situations. But if you decide to and you want to take our advice and you do win, tell us about it. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear about it. Yeah, give Shiny B a portion of your winnings so that he can go buy a new couch, because he doesn't have one at the moment.
I do. It's just on the way.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this episode of Hella Flagrant, the podcast. As always, you can tune in with us, YouTube, SoundCloud. We're on iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play. Anywhere that podcasts are played, we are there. So find us, tune in, listen, share, like, comment, Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. Hella Flagrant, the podcast. That's it. We here. We'll be back next week or whenever we decide to come back. But we'll be back.
Peace. Thank y'all. See y'all later.
Yeah.